What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome, welcome. We're so happy everybody's out there in the crowd. I'm going to say a special shout out to my Holton Arms people. Whoop, whoop. Holton Arms in the house.
School reunion.
Yes, high school reunion in the house. It's so good to be here. I'm Sister Tamia. I'm joined here today with my sisters, Yvette Blackman-Tom.
Hello.
Sabrina Wood.
Whoop, whoop.
And Fran T.
What's happening?
I was wondering if you were actually. You kind of look like you were doing.
She's doing some. She's still doing some research.
I was like,
yeah,
I was like, is she gonna join us? Okay, cool. Whatever.
I'm sorry, I was looking at my fingernails. I'm sorry.
Wow,
wow, not even research.
Far more interesting than our show.
No, I was saying, pardon me.
Hey. All right, y'all. We're the Sci-Fi Sisters, and we're so happy to be here today because we have my young sister with us. Yay. My Holton Arms girl, like Ellie said, Ellie Aichi Kamaro said in the chat, we're finding a way or making one. That was our high school motto.
That's right.
I got my sister Tanya Scott-Thomas with us today. Hey, Tanya.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, beautiful.
So excited to be here. I've been wanting to be a sister forever. So
get in line, sis. Get in line.
Let me just tell y'all something. Tanya, when we first started the Sci-Fi Sisters, Tanya was like one of the very first people before we ever had a podcast out there. When we started the mothership and we were on Facebook, Tanya was one of our very first supporters. Let me tell you, that's true blood. That's true. That's thick and true, through and through. Baby's been with us the whole entire time. And we're so excited about that too, because Tanya's got her own fandom that's a little bit different from most of the sisters. I am Elfquest adjacent. Like I've read some Elfquest in my life and I have mad respect for it, but I think a lot of us don't know a lot about Elfquest, and this is your main fandom, right, Tanya?
Yes, it is. But I'm a Trekkie too. I love all Star Trek. I've been watching it since I was a little kid, and they had the marathons on Channel 5 on 4th of July weekend. I would watch it with my brother and watch the cartoon. I was watching Deep Space Nine when you were in DC and I was in New York and all the stuff. So I'm here for all of it. That's why I support you guys. I think you guys are so inspiring and I am so happy to join you.
Oh,
happy to have you.
Yes, we are. And I think it's really cool because what you bring to us and to the mothership and to our fandom in general is showing people a variety of blurreddom, right? I think just like Black folks out there in the wild as we are, there's no one type of Black person. Yeah, I said it. Out in real life.
You're right.
Today, folks, we're observing the Blacks. Notice how
we're real. Speak. It's real. We're real.
We have a multitude of things we love.
Absolutely, right. Just like everybody else.
That's right.
That's right.
Sooner or later, they'll treat us like humans, right?
Right.
That's why we're here. That's what this is all about.
That's what this is all about. And you provide, especially on the mothership, you give people a lot more information about Elfquest. People who you're sort of getting people's interest prick,
piquing their interest.
Yeah. And I love that because it provides the tapestry. That's the word I'm looking for. Jesus Christ.
Beautiful. That is beautiful.
Right.
That was a great episode.
Always comes back to Star Trek, and that's perfect because that's what this show is about tonight, right? So Tanya's here to teach us about Elfquest and to tell us why Trekkies should love Elfquest too, because look at Tanya's a perfect embodiment of this. So first, just to start off, can you give us a little synopsis, not a synopsis of Elfquest, but a little history about it for those of us who don't know?
Elfquest is one of the longest running independent comics created and drawn by a woman, Wendy Pini. They were self-published. She co-created and with her husband, Richard Pini. First issue came out in February 28th, 1978.
That's
Ooh, good
knowing your
year.
stuff there, baby. Huh.
It's one story that's been traveling along the path of the great everything since
Wow.
then until the last story came out in 2019, I think.
Oh,
Just completed one final story arc, but they say they've teased us that there's more stuff coming. So I'm here for it. I've been reading it since I was 15. Anyway, I have to get back to what it's about. It's about
I like that biographical part too.
Yeah.
So, you know,
yeah.
like,
So I've been reading it since
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
15. Allison Brudno, who's in the chat, I borrowed the books from her.
Ooh, hey, Allison.
ninth
Thanks,
grade.
Allison.
Did she
Yay.
give it back,
Um,
Allison? Did she give you your book back?
I did. I gave them all back, and then I bought my own, and then I kept
Good.
buying them because I wanted to read the story. So I just loved it so much. So this is a story about a group of elves, but they're really just very powerful alien beings. They're traveling through space, and they saw a planet that looked interesting. They thought it had hints of some of their brethren because they are all space explorers. So they shaped themselves into elves because they saw that elven symbols on the planet, and an accident happens and they crash.
Ooh.
And they're spread out throughout this very brutal, primitive world because they not only can travel through space, they can travel through time. So they land on the planet that they wanted to, but they land in the wrong time. Back
Ooh.
Oh,
when
shoot.
the
Oh,
humans are
shoot.
very primitive and they don't know what elves are, so they freak out. So they are stuck on this planet. They've been spread out and they're trying to find their fellow brethren and get back home, get back to the stars.
Wow.
Mm.
That's a little Voyager element there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I am bringing it all in. I'm here. I got my Stargazer shirt on. 'Cause, you know,
Yes.
Picard, Stargazer. I'm trying to bring it
you.
all in.
Straddling
I'm-
franchise.
I know, right?
Yes, I'm
She's
here.
like fringe.
I'm here for it all.
I love
Fandom,
it.
In the
fandom.
words of the great Yoda,
It's Elf Trek.
there is no
Not
Elfquest. Try.
Trek.
You either do or do not, and
Do
you
or do
are
not do.
doing it.
Exactly.
Correct. Yes, Fran. Absolutely.
So, okay, so let's go into it then. So for Trekkies, which we have a lot of fans who are Trekkies, tell us why. Let's get the first reason. Why do you think Trekkies would like Elfquest?
Okay, my first reason is kind of a layup. It's very easy, but Elfquest is published by Warp Graphics. Warp stands for Wendy and Richard Pini, and that's my first reason because we all love Warp. We love Warp Drive, so Warp Graphics. The words will just pique your interest just because it's familiar to you. It's priming you.
Right?
Get ready.
And weren't Wendy and Richard Pini also like hardcore Trekkies as well? Like I remember seeing something, some old photo like from the very first Trek convention, and there was Wendy Pini out there like working the convention, and then other pictures of her like at other conventions and stuff. So they have Trek in their soul.
They have Trek and sci-fi in their soul. That kind of brings me to point number 2. Richard Pini has a degree in astrophysics and astronomy from MIT. And he was a lecturer at Hayden Planetarium. And he would talk about space and the stars. And at that time, Wendy was an illustrator for sci-fi magazines like Galaxy and The World of
Oh,
If.
she got cred.
Yeah.
And
that's
she
right.
would
they
do
both-
some of the illustrations for Richard's presentations. So
Okay.
they have a very good hold in sci-fi. And Wendy has told me that she loves only the original Star Trek.
Oh.
She loves William Shatner.
Oh,
Oh.
wow.
She told me this personally. I spoke with her. I've met her a few times at cons, and yeah, so she loves original Star Trek, and she loves the idea of, seeking knowledge over ignorance, and celebrating diversity, and that those tenets are interwoven throughout Elfquest. So that's maybe two more reasons why
Right.
Trekkies
So
should love
she's
Elfquest.
like a DC Fontana of Elfquest.
Yeah, right.
She's one of the first like comic book writers back in the 70s. She's writing. This is pretty wild.
Yeah, I
She's
mean,
got her
she
own-
is mostly self-taught and just started doing illustrations. Some of those, the covers for those old magazines are really cool. I don't have any, but there are some that are collected in some of the larger art books that I do have that are Elfquest centered. They're really neat. It's just, I mean, it's beautiful work. Wendy's artwork is amazing. So
Yeah, it is.
it will immerse you once you start reading the comics.
It's so
I
true.
read
You won't be able to put them down.
Yeah.
I read that she really was inspired by Jack Kirby from Marvel
Mm-hmm.
and also
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
Japanese anime
Anime and
artist.
manga, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Who
Yes.
did my favorite Astro Boy and
Yes,
Kimber
yes.
the White Lion. Oh baby. So,
Absolutely. Yes.
So
Sabrina.
I like that
100%.
style. That style of the Elfquest drawings was very familiar to me. Very kind of throwbackish. So that
Yes.
caught my eye when when
Mhm.
you first told me about this. I was like, elves, like no, and then I was like, wait a minute, this is like cool looking elves, and this is a really I enjoyed it. So yeah, if you love Astro Boy, yeah, if you love that kind of drawing, and also with a mix of the old Marvel, that whole look too from Kirby. So it's really got to look at this stuff. This is a beautiful books.
Yeah,
It is.
she said that those are her two like senseis, Jack Kirby and Osamu Tezuka.
Awesome. Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you.
And
for
that's
saying
where
that.
she learned like movement and the lines. I mean, the
Mm.
line work is amazing because the first books were like magazine size,
Oh,
and they were black and white, but the covers were in color. So
Oh, wow.
I have a few of them. I don't have the whole run yet, but working on it.
We have like there are questions coming in for
man.
you, like okay, or that one. I was going to go back and start a little bit further back.
I will, but this is
I
the
like
way it
this
works.
one. This is a good question. But before there's a question that comes before, because that I thought is also a good question to start. Kay Dramer, hi Karen, asked, are the characters the same from the beginning? Like, do the same characters run throughout?
Yes. The story centers on one tribe of elves, primarily called the Wolf Riders. And the story is basically the hero's journey of Cutter, who is the chief of the Wolf Riders.
All right.
And so you do see that core tribe throughout the entire run of the Elfquest story, and then they meet other tribes on their quest to unite all of these lost travelers. They called them the High Ones, the first group that crashed on the planet. So they're trying to unite all the lost children of the High Ones, so that because the humans are a threat, and they thought if they were all united together, they would be able to stand up to this human threat and possibly find a way to get back to their home planet, or back to the stars, back to space.
So there were humans on the planet that they crashed on, is what you're saying?
Yes, because they crashed in the wrong time. So they crash where the humans are very primitive. They're like caveman kind of
Oh God.
primitive humans.
Yikes.
And the first contact does not end well. It's not
Oh.
good. It's not great.
No, does it ever?
It's very
About
traumatic.
time. It's about space.
Right.
It's about space and time. And these elves, these beings, they're so powerful on their home planet, which was dying, which was why they crafted these ships or pods out of the very earth of this planet, their home planet, because they were so powerful, and all the powers kind of imbued in the earth, in themselves. And so they've, basically formed these pods, and they, split up sort of like little arcs and went out to explore space. So we're just learning mostly about this one pod, but picture other pods out in space exploring other worlds in other times, just that we haven't really met yet.
Wow. So there's like endless potential in this universe to keep telling these stories in so many ways, I love that. I mean, and one of the things that I loved when I first picked up an Elfquest comic, I didn't know what was going on, and I just really like picked it up like in the middle of a thing, and I just had to sort of piece it together, but what I pieced together, I was so impressed by the diversity that was exhibited within the pages of the comics, because they had, she's really true to her core mission. They had elves of all different ethnicities, and there were all different sorts of family groups of elves, and all different sorts of like romantic pairings and love pairings. And, it was just way, way ahead of its time. Like way ahead of its time. It was so dope. And then you saw a lot of talk, a lot of discussion of, class issues and race issues, really getting into a lot of the sociological issues that we're dealing with in this country, on this planet, and a lot of the bigotry and stuff. It was just really amazing. I was so, that's why it always stayed with me, Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Where do you start reading?
Yeah,
you can start reading.
Damon Terrell is giving us the answer over there.
Yes. Shout out. Damon is in the Facebook Elfquest group. He is a super fan like me, and there are many ways to start reading Elfquest. It's currently being published by Dark Horse Comics. They are making big, fat volumes. So it's complete Elfquest volumes 1 through 7. Start at 1. And that takes you all the way up to the end of Final Quest. And then there's another book, that's the story I kind of mentioned, that just ended. It just came out 2 years ago, Stargazer's Hunt. That follows one of the characters, Skywise. He's on my shirt. He's the Stargazer. He is the astronomer elf, and he is Richard Peeney's sort of avatar. That's his elf. Okay. Skywise represents Richard, and Cutter represents Wendy. And it's their relationship that's really one of the driving relationships of the entire story. So you can start reading with Dark Horse. You can do it in actual books. It's also digital on all the digital platforms. And because Wendy and Richard feel so strongly about their story, and they know that it's so impactful and that people want to read it, they have most of the original quests leading up to where Final Quest starts for free on elfquest.com. So
wow.
Oh, okay.
That is so cool.
Yeah, because they wanted, I think they were in talks for a movie at some point in the 2000s, early 2000s, maybe late 90s, and they couldn't put out any new material. And if they were in this deal to have this movie, they were like, well, if this movie comes out, like, people are going to want to know, like, what is this? What is Elfquest? What is it? So Richard scanned every issue
Wow.
Wow.
and put it on their website. And they've just redone the website recently, about 6 months ago, maybe. And the online reading room, it's great. You get to flip through the pages, the colors are great,
Okay.
and it's all there, and it's in the order that you can follow. And then you have to get Final Quest from Dark Horse. That's not on the
Wow.
website,
Mhm.
but it's
You
a
know
good
that is
20, 30 years of content to get through. So
You know,
it's good
that
stuff.
is like super Trek. You know,
Yeah,
like I mean,
it's
that's so
community.
awesome.
It's, you know,
Right.
it's for everyone. It's for knowledge.
Wow.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's 40 years of
Yeah.
stuff, though. Whoosh.
Almost 40 years. It's pretty great.
Oh, what's
Wow.
It's great stuff.
There was another oh, that's such a good, yeah, that's so true. The options were not great, Ellie. There's not many times we can look back and go, oh yeah, that would have been a great time to be Black and queer.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about like, oh, I wish I met this person, this historical, but like, it's not safe to go back in history too far. You know,
Not for us.
not for
Not
us.
for
I mean,
us.
unless we're going to Africa, and even there, sometimes it depends on who you are.
Mm.
Yep.
You gotta go way
Definitely.
back.
You know,
Back.
I'm looking. There was
Way
another.
back.
That's a screenplay. Oof.
Oh,
sure
there
is.
was a question from Diane. How many issues have been published?
Yes.
I mean, that's like a super lot of issues. Do you know the number?
Super lot. I don't know the exact number. It's
If you go on the website, you can see everything there. That's where I found out everything.
This is like a
Mhm.
treasure trove of new stuff. I'm so
I
excited.
know.
There's so much.
Aren't you excited? You're just like,
Those fingers, oh my. Ferengies!
She had me with
Yelling.
crash landed on the planet and they were, cavemen. I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Right,
I
when
didn't
she
even
said
get that part.
I'm like, oh wait, caveman.
Can you imagine? Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
goodness, that should be interesting.
About
We
this
hadn't
now.
invented the wheel yet, okay?
Oh, David says over 300 issues, he believes. So
Mm.
Jesus.
Yes,
700
I
pages.
saw
Oh,
that in the
There's
bookstore.
some debate over here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, that was
Wow.
volume 1. Volume
Oh.
1 is 700 pages long.
Yeah, but
Is
that's
that
a
the
lot.
Dark
I
Horse? Is
love- I
that the
love a
Dark
big-
Horse omnibus?
Yeah, I like
yes,
that.
the omnibus. I believe
Yeah.
it was 21 issues for the original Quest. And since they were self-publishing, those were longer.
Okay.
It wasn't like the standard Marvel, like, I don't know, pages. So they were juicy. It's a lot. I mean, all these
Stories.
books I have the full run in a couple different publishings. So I've filled this
Ooh.
entire armoire with Elfquest books.
That's so cool.
Because in another way, like, when you're reading, I mean, Yvette, you can probably relate. Like when you read comics, like I used to read the X-Men comics. I tried to,
Right.
but it's like you're reading it and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, this happened in, go to blah, blah, blah issue, like
yeah.
1817. And then you're
Yeah.
like, well, what's that? Then you got to go to,
Yes.
and then you got to go to try
that
to
is my
talk to the,
whole life.
yeah.
Just describe my whole life.
And then you got to kind of ask the guy at the, the dudes at the comic book stores.
My
not always
dealer.
so
You mean my
welcoming.
dealer? Comic book dealer?
Yeah, you're
Your
pushing.
pusher.
That would be Mark Harmon.
If I had kept the comics that I read as a girl,
So Elfquest put out these individual issues, and then they've always been really great about putting them together in these volumes, these graphic novels, these compilations that gather the issues together for another opportunity for people to read them and get them and get the whole run without missing an issue here or there. And that's another reason why it's up on the website. So you don't have to go hunting around. I mean, I have gone hunting around. Like I took a little break from Elfquest, like when I was in college, I couldn't keep going to the comic book store and since they're self-publishing, sometimes there's a delay once in a while, and it used to come out every 2 months. And then, oops, something happened, and I couldn't get there at exams. And then I had a life or whatever. And then I found out there were this more story. The story was going while I was just living my life. And then I had to get them. So I was just like running around Manhattan trying to find these books. Like 2 of them are here and 2 of them are downtown. And then I'm just trekking all over the place. And
ma'am, I understand.
That would be me. That was me. That was what I was doing. So
totally get your life.
That's like a little bit pre-internet.
Yeah, thank God for Amazon and what was the comic? They're gone now. The comic book where you can get all the comic books online. I can't remember what the name of it. Comixology. Yeah.
Oh boy,
they're gone now. Yeah.
So
if I had kept the comics that I bought as a girl, because I didn't read all that romance stuff. I read, like Batman, Superman, the Fantastic Four.
There you go.
I did those, and they cost like 10, 15 cents, and I threw them away. I mean, I wouldn't even be talking to you broke peons if I had kept those comic books that I bought.
Well, I mean, that's why some of them are collectible now, because I mean, they're pulp, right? And people, nobody thought that this stuff was going to be clelectible one day.
We had no idea.
I mean, some people did, but not the majority of people, clearly.
Yeah, most people did not. They just, read them and that was it.
So, okay, so
we have a question.
Which arc do you like best? And then I want to get back to after this one, I want to go back to like, what's our third reason that, what reason are we on now? Like 5? That Trekkies
with all the reasons.
All the reasons.
My favorite arc, David, is it's called Kings of the Broken Wheel.
Ooh, I love that title.
It came out around 1991 through like 93, I want to say. And Wendy had said in an interview that when she was writing it, she has something called hip dysplasia. So she was in a lot of pain, and I believe she was on the West Coast and Richard was on the East Coast. So they were separated, and there's a lot of that in the story about just enduring. And I mean, these elves, these beings, they're very long-lived. Some of them are immortal. The Wolf Riders are not. You will find that out in the story. It's that's part of what Tamia was talking about with these ideas of purity, or things like that. So I love the artwork in it. It's the first series that I was reading like one individual issue at a time that was coming out every other month. Because all of the other ones I had borrowed the books from Allison, and then at the time the collection books were on sale at like Walden Books.
Oh yeah.
And I had just gotten my driver's license. I could get to the mall. Like I didn't know where the comic book store was.
Right.
But I could go to Walden Books and I could get the next book, with my whatever allowance and driving kids to school kind of money. And, so I would pick those up.
Gosh. That was a while ago.
Yeah. I go way back.
Would Elfquest fans like Star Trek? But I don't know.
But I'm not.
Okay, so we're gonna save that. Let's save that question, because that's a good one, and that we can get to that discussion. So let's pick up back with
number 3.
Other reason. Yeah, our other reason that Trekkies would like Elfquest.
Okay, because I've gotten off. We've talked about the infinite diversity and infinite combinations. Did we? I think we've
sort of touched
on it. Because I mean, picturing it back in 1978, I mean, Wendy decided that, that these beings, these characters in these books were going to represent the same diversity that exists in our world today, even though there are brown skin elves that were there from the beginning. That was, it wasn't something like, oh, we should, we need some blacks in here. We gotta, it was just something that was conceived from the beginning of the story, that if these groups of elves are scattered all over this planet, they're going to look different. Like they're going to adapt, and because that's the way things are. So it's just picturing them in the future, in fantasy worlds. Diversity exists. It is a thing. It is a real thing. And that is one of the greatest things about Elfquest, that I just love it. I love that she thought, even these are not necessarily like, Earth Black people, but that there is, this diversity exists, that there is a variety of types of beings, people evolve, and that is it. So, and then as Tamio was saying, there's different relationships, there's different couplings and family groups. All the elves get down with each other. That is something that everyone who is read Elfquest knows. Like they're all into it. They're all together. They're not, hampered by like these other, human morals or what have you.
So there's no angst. No angst.
I wouldn't say there's no angst, because there are a lot of complex characters. They have different motivations, and they can get very messy. And they're not perfect, which is another thing I really love about it. Is, when usually you have fantasy where these magical beings are kind of, godlike, and they're perfect, and they're not very complicated, but all of these, they have immense power, but they all have to kind of learn the lessons of how to exist, how to treat others, how to harness your power, when to use it, when not to use it. Very, it's good stuff. It's
good writing.
These are rich, good. Yes, good, excellent, good writing, and whole characters. The female characters are very strong. That's something else that's why Elfquest kind of appeals to a lot of women, because they see all these different types of women. They can be evil, they can be good, they can be motherly, they can be not motherly at all. Like one of the characters, Kavi, she's had some kids, but she's not, she's like, hey, I'm dropping it, and she's moving on. And I love that. In the sense that, you don't have, not every woman wants to be a mother or has those, those characteristics just innately like there. And that should be shown as well. So you see that, you see male characters that are very nurturing, and, the gender roles are switched, and it just explores all of that. It explores like the relationships between the male characters, and it's good stuff. It's refreshing.
While you were talking, I thought about a couple of things. Number one, the brown and black characters that are in there, they're not all the same color, right? Like Wendy drew individual characters, like not all of us sisters right here, all five of us, none of us are the same exact skin tone, right, and that's represented in the books really well, which I thought, and that's extremely rare, and one of the things that made me have like mad respect for them, from the beginning. And then Gene Roddenberry in the beginning of Star Trek and TOS, coming out in the 60s, there was a lot of free love going around on that ship, on the Enterprise. I mean, those people were not prudes, like it's like they became prudes in the TNG era all of a sudden, except for Riker and Deanna,
Troy.
like Troy,
Yeah.
and they were
Yeah.
like, well, you're seeing that person now. I guess we're coming back together. Well, you go
Right.
off and
Yeah.
see that person. They were the only ones like healthy about it, you know.
Everybody else had issues.
Yeah, but
Data, it never happened.
What'd you say, Fran?
I say data, it never happened.
You know, but like TOS was like full of it.
Oh, even Scotty had a girlfriend for a minute.
Oh, yeah, he did. He went crazy over that woman.
He went crazy over a lot of women.
He had a couple of girlfriends. Yeah, Scotty always goes over the edge.
Yeah.
He'd be the wild boyfriend.
But there was a straight, I mean, there's a straight that reminds me a lot of Trek. You know, that's a pretty hardcore similarity too. And then of course, like you said, the strong women, the different women, the real women, you know, the real women characters that you get to see, which definitely reminds me of especially a lot of later Trek, you know.
Right. Yeah.
When they had more women writers.
Yes.
Right.
I agree. And I think that is probably the key here, is having women writers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, then you have, well, a woman wrote some really questionable episodes of Trek, so maybe not. But here I see that. I like the fact that the is it the main characters really represent the two people who started Elfquest? Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's I think that gives you because I like the fact that the main people have a healthy relationship, you know, because in most Trek, the main people are very you know, there's a lot of angst. They love someone and they die, or they, you know, they're, you know, they leave. I mean, it's so tragic. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, for no reason, you know, and I want to know, I want to see relationships that are kind of, you know, all relationships don't work out, but just to have some fun. Jesus.
Yeah, some do. You know, some do.
Right. Some work out.
Not everybody's miserable.
Right. Not everybody's miserable with their partner. So I love to see that, you know, that I think that's what's going to make me want to read this. I'm sure everybody has, like, just like Trek, you find that one thing, you're like, oh, I want to see this. I want to, like, I know people were asking, how do you get into Trek, or how do you get into Elfquest? You just got to find that thing that just kind of piques your interest. And I think you'll find it, you know, just like with Trek. It's a lot, and Elfquest is a lot. I've been looking. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
There are a lot of characters, so everyone has a favorite, or you know, somebody that they identify with, and you know, that's their person, that's their character, and they follow them, and you get little, I mean, they're so great at like dropping these little tidbits of such a broad cast. I mean, there's so many characters, and so there's little things in the background, which is great about comics, because you can have, you know, the main action going on in the foreground, and then you can see like little things happening, just little day in the life stuff and these little details. And you know, people go nuts over it. I mean, and you know, the costuming, the hair. I mean, this is another thing. It's like a lot of traditional comics, they're wearing the same outfit for 30 years.
For 30 years.
That's true.
Yeah. And they're superheroes too.
Or they're super true. Yeah. But you know, a little update. But since Wendy was, you know, she used to do the Red Sonja cosplay. She was like one of the first cosplayers. And she designs these costumes.
That should have come up at the beginning, man.
Yeah,
that's like burying the lead.
That's what she's known for, though. Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Are the women like in most women superheroes wear these really skimpy outfits? Do they in Elfquest too?
Some of them.
Ones I
It
saw
depends
them-
on where they live. You know, there's the sun folk. They're the brown elves. They live in the desert, so it's a little less
Skimpy,
clothing.
please.
Yeah.
And the wolf riders live in the forest. So
What's appropriate?
Yeah.
it's what's appropriate. And they're seasoned, so they have summer outfits. They got winter outfits, and
Okay, but y'all know what I'm talking about, right?
And
Yeah,
men
like,
wear
it's not-
skimpy outfits too, as is noted right there.
Yes, I saw a
Correct.
lot of abs in these.
Equal
There's a
opportunity.
lot of
There is a-
abs. There's
yeah.
a lot of that kind of anime manga, like ripped six packs and stuff. We get a lot of chest and abs. So I would say everybody's objectified equally, and it's not gratuitous.
Okay.
In my opinion. I mean, I've been told that I'm a bit prudish, so nothing is like, you see some drawings where it's like this person's gonna fall over, like they're like bowling balls, strapped to the chest, and like it's just not even realistic. It's not cool. So
Right, no,
everything
but-
is within proportion, and
Okay.
it's attractive to try to bring you in, because
Okay.
it's going to keep your attention to
You got
see
my
all these
attention.
pretty.
Yeah, I'm
big
not
eyes.
gonna lie. That brought me in.
Thank you. It was one of the things that brought me in. Thank you. It was a hook. It's
was like,
not
"Ooh."
bad to look at. I'm just
Cutter.
saying.
Yeah, and it's hot. Some of those.
Yeah.
Right. Some of it is really steamy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Mm.
Hands.
That's it.
Mhm.
Bringing.
So-
I don't know which
You
reason this is, but they
Bring it
did
on.
and the Elfquest audio movie or audio podcast,
Mhm.
which you can still listen to for free on wherever you get your podcasts,
Ooh.
Ooh,
is
look at you.
super hot. Like there is a thing within the elves, since they've crashed on this planet, called recognition, and it's this genetic drive to procreate,
Ooh,
and
pom
it's
pom.
like, yeah.
Sorry, exactly.
So
Which one?
so
what is
it's
this?
like these two. It's called recognition. These two beings are drawn together. Their souls are connected to create this healthy offspring to keep the
Oh.
race going.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a inescapable drive. You
Oh,
have to
okay.
do it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So this happens to a few characters in the course of the quest, and in the audio movie, the way they do it, since these elves are the wolf riders particularly, they have like telepathic powers. They can speak to each other in their minds, because they have to be quiet because they're in the forest and they hunt, and there's angry humans about, so it helps them be stealthy. So when you're listening to the audio movie, and they're like, the way that they did that, like the sending which is what they call their telepathy, and the recognition, when like it's called your soul name. All of the wolf riders have soul names to kind of protect themselves, since they do have this telepathic ability to kind of keep their closest, most private selves kind of walled off from everybody else. It's not like you're just sitting there and someone can like read your mind. It's not like that, but it's just another form of communication that is completely pure. There's no lying. You can't lie when you're sending. So it's just like a deeper way to connect with your fellow tribesmate.
Oh, well, I'm
And
into
That
this.
sounds like changelings linking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a little
I
bit.
guess
like that.
so. Yeah.
And they are shapeshifters. They can, on their home planet, they could they could look like anything. They could even be without form if they
Okay,
wanted
she's
to
just
be.
dropping all kinds of
mean-
additional.
Yeah.
Wait now. I thought this was just Cutter and the team running around trying to get away from the
Right,
cavemen.
because when they left their home planet
Right.
to go
No,
explore,
pay attention. She did start off with this.
I
Come
did
on now,
start,
sisters. You're
but
making me
just
look bad.
it gets
Sorry.
lost. They can change their
There's a
form.
lot. I think I got lost
There's
with
so
the
much.
abs. I think it was the abs.
The
that
abs
did
are
it for me.
hot.
See?
Oh my God.
But they could change their form. So obviously their powers are hampered on this other planet. They don't have
Right.
the same, it's heavier. They just can't do the same things, but they, they're gaining strength as they live longer on this planet and get closer together. But that's, another part of the story. But now I've lost my train of thought.
I want to go back though, because like way back, like 10
Way
minutes
back.
ago, like we've been, before we started talking about like the skimpy outfits, you had been saying something about Wendy Pini being a cosplayer.
Red
Yes.
Sonja.
Yeah, so they used to perform at these conventions, like little mini plays, and she would just embody Red Sonja. And there's some great photos out there on the internet. I mean, she made the entire costume herself, like little like metal ringlets, and she fashioned the whole thing. And I mean, she looks amazing. It's like body yada 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 for real. Like
wow.
And she would just perform. She would totally inhabit that character and do these little dramatizations, these like live acts that they would do at the conventions back then. And she did them with Frank Thorne. It was great. So that's kind of where she had started. So she always has that kind of costuming in mind, which is why in the comic, the characters have these amazing clothes, like, and they change. And she said that if she had known that it was going to go on this long, that everybody would be naked and have no hair and be bald, because it takes so long to draw. And they have different outfits. They might have different outfits within one, issue if the seasons are changing in that story. I mean, they could, now they're in their winter outfits, so you got to do that. And like, they do have some continuity with like their color schemes, like the main Wolf Riders, which are the main characters. Each of those characters might have like some distinct colors that they always wear, but their outfits change throughout each series. And everybody's like looking at the new, like check it out. Oh, did you see Redlance has got like, leaves on his stuff now? And like,
okay.
Just get off on all that stuff. It's just like, with Barbie, when you get the new outfits, like I used to go through the Barbie catalog of like all the dresses. And I mean, I never got them, but I would look at them like, my mom's going to get them for me, but she didn't. So it's fine. I got over
it. So like at the conventions, y'all do some serious deep cuts in the cosplay. Like, I bet like that's probably pretty amazing. I mean, I haven't been to an Elfquest convention, so I don't know, but I would imagine that all the cosplayers, like y'all are doing some deep cuts. Like, it's like, this is from this issue, that time when they were in the forest and it was fall and the thing happened. Like,
yeah, like I'm going to do this, like the Searcher and the Sword, like Clearbrook outfit. Like people, they go deep and it's incredible. I do not sew. I am not crafty. I've said this many times. Like, I've made children. I don't make crafts. I'm not. It's just not my area. I'm not good at it. But I love what some of like the fellow like fans do with their cosplay. It's amazing.
Wow, that's got to be the quote of the day. I've made children. I don't make crafts.
I saw that in a meme, and I was like, that is me. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I try, but it's just not. No, it's not my thing.
Don't have that. I can't.
Yeah, it's not my thing either.
Tanya, let me ask you a question. So there was an audio book or just an audio rendering?
The audio movie.
There was the audio movie. Okay, so I read that I think it was this month that there might be a movie coming out, an actual movie coming out. Did you hear that?
Yes, the news is that they're in the early development stages. I believe they have gotten a script commitment with I think it's Modern Magic, the guys that did Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, cool. Those are the guys.
Their company.
They're basically Fox, right?
Right. The deal is with Fox, and to do it's 1 hour episode series.
Oh,
Yeah.
based on Elfquest.
And they seem
Wow.
very
Yeah,
happy
we're
about it,
excited.
right? Yeah. Wendy
That's
and Richard seem
huge.
very excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, they have literally been trying to get this since they started. Like when I was preparing for this episode, I started reading like the letters from the original run issues, like the letters from the fans. And they started talking, and like Richard always does a little, it's called matter of opinion.
Mhm.
And he has these these essays in a lot of the issues. He still does them now. You can sign up for Richard's newsletter on elfquest.com.
Awesome.
And get little behind the scenes. And he's a great writer too. He puts in he just has a great way of kind of encapsulating ideas.
Ellie is right.
Uh-oh. I
It's
want
true.
pictures.
That's just nothing but
I put
proof
together
right there.
like outfits, but I have to base it on like actual clothing and just kind of, I don't know.
What
but
you have at hand.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
do
but
like
you-
closet play,
Mhm.
closet cosplay. So
Classic cosplay. Yep. I get it. I get it.
Not
Yeah.
just because, like, not all of us have to sew it to do cosplay. Like
Yeah, you don't have
cosplay,
to
like
even know.
all you're doing is playing dress up.
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
which I love. I've done that my whole life. So
Yep, and you're really
Yep.
good at it. I've known you a lot of those years, and you've
Thank
always
you.
been really good at it.
So getting back to the movie and everything, I wanted to know also, so in Star Trek fandom, the fans make movies, like they make their own versions. Do they do the same thing for Elfquest?
there is a really good one that these actresses did. It's on YouTube. I'll try to find. It's really cool.
Wow.
They made a trailer.
Okay.
Because the idea was like we were just waiting and waiting for this to happen. As I said, they started talking about, oh, we're hoping to get an animated series or get a movie, and that talk started back in the late 70s and 80s, and it's there's been
Wow.
starts and stops. It's really tough, and Wendy and Richard were very adamant about it not being, it being faithful to the core beliefs of Elfquest.
Mhm.
And they didn't want to just sign their rights away and
Right.
have have these people wreck it. And they've talked about that in interviews, how they wanted to do this, they wanted to change that, they wanted to make things more appealing to more traditional
Mhm.
ideas or audiences. So
Right.
the women were more objectified, or
Yeah.
this, that, or whatever. So it's been a long process. So we're very excited. We think that the guys I've read about for Into the Spider-Verse, like they want to take animation and make it very adult and sophisticated, appealing to more mature audiences, not just for kids. And
Yep.
I think it's in good hands. I'm
I think
really
so
excited.
too. Yeah. Those guys are great.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
this
some good
sounds
stuff.
like it never was really for kids. I think both of you came into this when you were in your teens, and
Mhm.
Mhm.
both of you that I know are more of a mature teen than I would think of, the average teen. So
Mhm.
I could imagine that this is now its time. You were saying earlier that this came out way ahead of its time. And so now I think the animation that we see now and these adult animated series that we're watching now is the time for Elfquest.
Mhm.
I think
agree.
so. I mean, it's the story is timeless. Like Tamia was saying, like there are themes that they thought when they were writing them then, like in that kind of hippie free love, like this, we're gonna get there, like.
Yeah.
And it's even more poignant now, where the state of things are now in America. Like there's more division and not less, and it's kind of just, it's sad that we're still having to say these same things over and over again. And I think it's right on time because there's so much in the story. If it's put out to a broader audience, that's just gonna, really resonate, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. I hope this works.
Yeah,
I'm glad they're around to see it when it does work.
Yeah,
me too. I mean, it's 45 years of putting this thing out, their baby. So
there aren't too many
love
franchises. Yeah, that is amazing. And they're the only two writers, right? She's the only writer. There've never been others coming in. I mean, I know she has helpers.
There were
some.
In the 90s. They brought in some other people, some other artists, Brandon McKinney, John Byrne, a few others, and they did write some storylines. And I think they're pretty good. I think the thing with Wendy's style is so distinct that you could see, different artists do Superman or, do Batman, and they all kind of look like Batman and Superman, and it's fine. But you see someone else draw Cutter, and it cannot be replicated. It's just very difficult to. I don't know if they were doing their style or trying to copy Wendy's style. I can't say I can't draw at all. So I don't know. So respect to them for even, trying it. So, so there were some other collaborators that came in under the tent, so to speak, in the 90s. But the final quest was drawn all by Wendy. And it was colored by Sonny Strait, who is a comic artist, colorist, and voice actor. He does the voice of Krillin for Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, wow.
And Usopp in One Piece.
Oh, wow.
A myriad other characters. Wow. He's great. I think he was the only one who studied under Wendy to get as close to her style of drawing. And so Wendy did the pencils for this last one that came out, Stargazer's Hunt, and then Sonny came over and did the inks and the colors, and it was a great marriage of their two styles. I think it's really good, like to the eye that's like really used to seeing like Wendy's drawings. This was a very good like next step. So that's where we're going, I think.
That's so cool.
I love it.
So cool. I love Damon's comment that you put up earlier, Yvette, about Elfquest not being, not good versus evil, that it really makes you think like beyond the page. And that's yet another reason why Trekkies can like Elfquest, because I mean, that's why we love our show. There's Star Wars, and there it is. And you've seen it, and you've seen it, and you've seen it. And every time something comes out, you've seen the same damn thing over again, Or there's Star Trek, which, gives us Measure of a Man, and, and so many other phenomenal episodes.
In the Pale Moonlight.
In the Pale Moonlight, right? Like The Visitor, that make you think so much more. Like we are people who love to think. We want to be challenged. We don't want easy answers and pat answers. Yeah,
and great stories. Great stories about humans or elves. Of course, aliens who are really just great stories where people who look different still have like human stories. I think that's the thing that we love.
I am Black on the right side.
He's Black on the left side.
That's right. This is awesome. I think I'm gonna start.
Yeah, it's free. It's out there. You can start right now.
Go to
and accessible.
It's very accessible. Yeah. And one last thing about the auto movie, which is another thing to tie into the Trekkies. Two of our favorites, Tim Russ and Robert Picardo, do voices for in the Elfquest audio movie, and my favorite, Cree Summer.
Yes, I was waiting for you to say her name.
Queen of voices.
I just want to like hang out at her house for like,
oh my God.
Yes.
just an hour.
Just hang out with her and her the freaks.
Yes, all of them. Oh my God. I don't know if you saw her show, Better Things.
Okay.
That show is so good with Pamela Adlon.
What show? What was it called?
It's called Better Things. I think you can watch it on Netflix.
Better Things.
Cree Summer was a writer and she was a character on the show.
Okay.
And it's just good character show. This is a little aside. And they have an episode, they did a little podcast after the final season. And the Cree Summer and Pamela Adlon, that episode is freaking hilarious. It is like, it reminds me of like those times we were like just like driving around in your car, like in the summer, just like cracking up with like, one inside joke goes to another inside joke. And, the two of them, those two women have done like voice acting for, 20, 30 years. And I mean, it's just great. It's just a great little one episode. You don't even have to watch the show just to listen to those two talk. But yes, Cree Summer is the narrator, and she also plays Saba, who is the mother of memory, and she is the leader of the Sun Folk. So she's
the mother of memory.
That is her. Yeah, that is one of her titles.
See, now I'm really in love. See, that's my hook. You got me with that one. I mean, I was already in there, but now I got to go do it now. Like tomorrow.
Do it now.
Now.
Okay, I'll see you guys. I'm done. Deuces.
Right.
I want the 700-page book.
Me too.
That's what I want.
That's what I want. I already talked to my dealer. He just did that for me.
I'll get it for you.
You're pusher man.
I gotta go see my comic book guy.
Right.
Yes, talk to your guy. I mean, I highly recommend digital for those big ones too, because you don't have to carry around 700 pages. I know they're not the same. I was one of those holdouts until like one day the new issue came out. And I don't know, my kids were sick or something. Like I couldn't get there because I want to get there on Wednesday. I want to that day.
Yes.
And the Elfquest fan group, they have, as soon as the new issues were coming out with Final Quest, like there was the spoiler policy caused so much drama. People like if you spoiled that, if you said something within that first week, oh my God, you were in trouble. But there was always a spoiler thread. And I'd have to avoid it. So I broke into digital. So I have it all digital. I have it all in like paper books. I love the smell of the books.
Yeah.
Every time I open this case, I'm like,
never without. Just never without.
Oh my God.
One of us.
It's on my phone. I have it. I even put up posters in my the twins' bedrooms because they had the wall space and I had the posters. And they don't care.
Oh my God, I love that.
They're like, great.
That's what I'm gonna tell my children. Well, you have the wall space.
I
mean, I was running out of room in where I had it. They have to, put it up there, put it up on the wall.
I think that's the thing about being our partners of those of us who are blurds and nerds, like they just have to put up with so much.
now even more.
Right. So tolerant. But you knew what you were getting into, buddy.
Telling you, man. This sounds. I mean, I have known you for a few years now, Tanya, and I've heard about Elfquest from you over and over again. I did glance at the 700-page book and put it right back on the shelf, and then I said, "But tonight you got me. Yeah, I gotta go
get it.
I gotta go find out what's going on here. You got me tonight, for real."
You want a good, immersive, character-driven story. Elfquest is where it's at. That's
I'm just saying.
I want the abs.
Great.
I'm saying
Get the abs. Leather pants. Come on.
Leather
Fringe.
pants and
Oh my
abs.
God, I remember the tight leather pants, like
Tight leather pants.
I can't see what that is,
Well, it
Fran.
said something's
Is that The
world.
Simpsons?
fan, you are a fan. You see how thick this book is?
Ooh.
This
Oh
volume is?
God, it's
It's the
It's like
Simpsons.
an Elfquest book.
Oh,
It's
The
The
all-
Simpsons.
The episodes from the Simpsons. And this is how thick this volume is.
I love that.
mhm.
Another
If you are a
fandom,
fan,
and yet another
you are
fandom.
a fan.
If you're a fan, you are a fan.
That's
Exactly.
right.
But I'm sorry, but had been talking about the leather pants, and
Get
like,
back.
okay, yeah, okay, I got it. It's a big book. I got it. You know, like,
No, I want to
because
know. I think this
that
sounds really good.
stuck with me.
Yeah.
I remember seeing one of the characters like molded into these like tight little leather pants, and I was like, wait, what?
Little butt.
I'm sorry.
Little elf butt.
Your little
What?
elf butt, like, look
It
good.
was perfect for a teenage girl. I love
Mhm,
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No capes in the way. No capes.
No
Good.
capes.
It's leather pants, huh?
Just leather pants, baby. That's all
And
I
I think
need.
leather pants were out then. I mean, were really in vogue then, right?
Yes,
That's
they
true,
Yeah,
were.
I mean the
actually.
Wolf Riders. That's all they wear is leather. Because
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I had a pet.
And I said, my people. Those are my people.
I want to get to the heady stories about marginalization and
you will get
Oh,
there.
they're
It's,
there.
Abs
They're
it's
It's
there.
there.
It's
There's
there.
a lot of, elves versus humans, more immortals versus the mortals. There's trolls as well, and elves and trolls.
There's trolls.
There were trolls. She
Not the
keeps
trolls.
dropping
She keeps
things.
dropping these little morsels here and there.
Are
You guys, but
there
there's-
any fairies?
Tuvok
there
is in
are
this,
they're
and-
called preservers, and they're these little
Oh yeah, I'm
kind
all
of
over this.
sprightly little beings that fly around. They're
Tinkerbell?
also
Okay.
immortal, and they come from that original planet. The trolls, the preservers, the elves.
Oh my
You
god!
They were all
Mm.
together in the pods that crashed on the world of two moons. That's where they crashed.
Oh, they
Lord
had the
of
whole crew
Dave
on
Gregory, I'm with you.
the... he had aliens right up at the top of the
at the
spectrum.
top. He
Yeah, I
was, he
know,
was
Dave.
good.
Don't act like you just got.
He had already been
Yes,
assimilated.
the
all the way to the
preservers.
top.
They spit this like goo, this silk wrap.
Spitting?
They spit it out like a spider. I don't know,
Like
spiders.
spiders, like-
They
Mhm.
spit
Okay.
webs. Anyway, they're made to preserve the elves if they are. I mean, it can put them in like a state of like what is it?
Faces?
Suspended animation.
Okay.
So if they're
Oh.
injured or if they just need to take a break from the life, they
Mhm.
can wrap themselves in
Oh,
wrap
so we
stuff.
don't
Rep-
swat the preservers. We like the
No,
preservers.
we love
Wait,
them. They're
oh,
our
Wait.
I'm
So,
We
okay.
don't squat the percent.
So if you are
And not
done
really
with the
spiders.
day and you need a break, you just go get spit on? Is that what
Well,
you're
it's
trying
not
to tell
like-
me?
Put this...
it's not like when you go to bed at night, but if later in the stories, there's some trauma, things happen, and
Okay.
one character, I think he just like, I need to process some stuff. So like you're still kind of like your mind is conscious, but your
Oh, okay.
body is
Okay.
preserved. You don't need food or drink, and
Oh, like
you
when
can kind of
okay.
just take a break
safe.
from reality or life, I guess,
like
and
when
deal with
Superman
your
goes
stuff.
to the Fortress of Solitude.
Yes.
Sort of like that, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
The Fortress of Solitude.
I mean, it serves many purposes. I think it was initially like in their pod ship to help because they're traveling with just the power of their minds
Yeah.
to be like
Oh,
wrapped
get
in
out
this
of town.
cocoon helps them focus. So like the navigator was wrapped in the cocoon so that he could better,
Ooh, this is feeling a little Dune-ish.
sure.
The navigator
Right? I was
was
going to say,
wrapped
okay.
in the stuff because he was piloting the ship with his mind. Oh yeah, okay. Hang up. I'm going to
Okay.
the store.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna stop looking at you
I
like that.
gotta
I'm like,
read
I
this.
get it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Well,
But answer the question: is it sparkly?
I don't think so, but it's very strong.
No.
It's like spider web, like very
I'm
high.
liking all of this.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here's a for anybody going on the Star Trek cruise. Here's a task is to try to come up with the Elfquest Star Trek cosplay mashup for the cruise.
Oh my
That would
gosh.
be great.
Uh-huh,
I can't
uh-huh.
wait.
And Tanya will be
Oh,
saving
that's
your place for when we can.
I got some leather pants.
I think I still have some leather pants that might
I
fit.
used to
Get
have.
out. Y'all
I do not have any abs.
No,
No, I have 0 abs.
I used to have.
I
it.
might have a belly hanging over the lip of my leather pants now. And I'm sure it's going to be sexy.
Don't be coming out looking like Larry Blackman with that card piece on and his belly hanging over it.
I mean, that is my cousin, so
Is that your cousin?
yeah.
When he show the red card piece, and he up there
I
talking
know.
about ow, and his belly bigger than Santa Claus. You know what? Come on now. He ain't seen that card piece in years.
Okay.
Oh God.
I am living now for the Star Trek Elfquest mashup.
I have to figure out how to make this happen.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Okay.
I think that, like, I swear to God, if we haven't convinced any Trekkies to come on over and start reading some Elfquest, then I don't know. Then we have not done our jobs. I mean, like, because
That's
Tanya,
right.
you have made the case. Like, all of us are super excited, and that's why, like, I really thought I always wanted you to start talking about Elfquest on the mothership,
Mhm.
and really start exposing people to it, because it's such a great experience, but also because we're just so much more than than one hit wonders, right? Like
Right.
we're so much more than one-dimensional fans. Like there's a lot for us out there,
We're all over the place.
and especially as blurs, there's a lot out there to really appreciate in so many different fandoms, but this one is a really worthy one.
Can y'all see this
100%.
black woman in her 50s who's an ardent Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan? I couldn't wait for those DVDs to come out. And
Yeah.
they came out, and I would run to Walden's and go and get them. And you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Ooh, even the title is stupid, but it's fantasy. It's science, fiction. So yeah, I'm a Buffy fan also.
I love Highlander. Oh my God, there can be
Oh,
only
yeah.
Oh
one.
yeah, that's another one. Highland.
He was hot too.
I love Avatar:
The
The Last Airbender. And I cannot wait for that new movie to come, the new series to come out. It's gonna be so good.
There's a
and
lot
my
of chatter
children
about
love
that.
Yeah,
we got
so
an
it's
Elfquest going on Star Trek.
I
Damon says that we've convinced him to give Star Trek a go. Yay!
Yay!
Oh, so that we got to go real quick. We got to
Yes,
go
let's
back
go
to
back to
that
that.
question.
Mhm.
How would you convince a Elfquest fan to love Star Trek, or where would you start an Elfquest fan in Star Trek? And honey, I don't know. I mean, there's
that
so
would be
much.
for Tanya, because we haven't. Well, maybe Mia also, because I don't know where you would start as an Elfquest fan.
DS9.
I say DS9.
Yeah, I think there's some good similarities with DS9. You have the changelings. Wasn't there that one episode where I think it was Dax, like there was like a planet where the people were kind of in spirit form for like several years, and then they only became corporeal for
a few months, for like I think weeks, and then they were
it's
gone
like
for months.
And they went back, and
so the elves are the high ones were sort of like that. They chose form because of all the experiences, the richness, the touching.
And DS9 is about great stories. I mean, it's it's an actual. I mean, it's a story. I mean, I'm watching it again now at season 5, of course.
Of course you are, because why are you going to waste time with any other season? Because this is Yvette, and she's watching DS9, and it's going to be season 5.
Sabrina's watching DS9 too.
Right. And so
DS9 is now playing on
Pluto.
Pluto.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's on
thank you.
Pluto.
Yeah. But
It's
I would
also a family.
Mhm.
Like the crew
Yes.
is a family.
Yes.
The elf tribes, especially
Mm.
the wolf riders, are a family. And that sense of family and, belonging and looking out for each other and all of that good stuff is, DS9 and Elfquest right there.
Mm-hmm. I kind of agree with Simone as well
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
that because that's what I was thinking as well. It's like start with the original series, but I would like pick and choose episodes for people.
Yeah, that's the
I
problem.
wouldn't I wouldn't let them just blunder around in the original series like willy-nilly blind, because
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like if you're trying to gear it for me, like I'm thinking like if you're trying to gear it to an Elfquest person, like I'd be like, okay, this might be the episode for you. And this because thematically these themes are, coinciding, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know.
Absolutely, Simone. Simone is another Elfquest Facebook group member. She is super dope.
Hi, Simone.
Hi,
Hi,
Simone.
Nice meeting you.
You guys
It's
would
nice
love
meeting
her.
everybody that's from that
Yeah.
group. Thank you for coming also,
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
I love to bring these two fandoms together.
Yes, for world
And,
domination.
That's
Yes.
it.
And
So
more
we're-
understanding and cooler people.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. So
We're stronger
in the
together,
chat,
you guys.
introduce yourselves to the people in the chat. Everybody that's been here before, let people know you're there. Say hello to your buddy. Say hi. Hopefully we'll be seeing each other more because we want to do some more of this. So keep
Yes,
watching.
I have some ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right
Yeah.
now.
We've got ideas. We're not going to leave. We don't want to leave Elfquest just a one and done,
Yeah.
Right.
and we
Yeah.
don't want to leave Tanya as a one and done because sorry, Eric, but we're not giving her back. So
Yeah.
just
Oh,
so
and
you
I forgot
know.
about the ears. You can do the Vulcan ears. You can do elf ears.
It's so true, right?
Yep, you can. That's it.
Another
You can
touch
show
of
me how to do some
similarity.
ears before I go on the cruise.
I can't find any brown ears. I can't find them.
You have to paint them.
They have them
paint
now on Amazon.
They're brown.
Also, they have brown ones. I have many ears. They have them at the conventions, Blurred Con. They had some there.
Okay.
It's Ariadne, I think, is the name of a company. They have many different shades of ears. There's also some on Etsy where they'll even, if you give them enough time, they'll,
Make
you
them
can
for
send
you.
them a photo and they'll try to match, shade match.
I had a guy try to tell me, well, just go
Okay.
ahead on and wear the regular ones. I'm like, it's not regular for me.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
So Bruce, thank you very much. So if you have any Elfquest fans in the chat, if you want to find out more about anything about Trek, the Sci-Fi Sisters can always tell you what they know. I mean, this is our opinion. We have a bunch of top 10s, the DS9 top 10, the TOS top 10, and the TNG top 10. I think we even have the women of Trek. So you can check out our YouTube page. We've got, lots of content on Trek, great interviews. But he's right. The top 10 will help you because we'll actually talk about it. Tell you what's going on. How it really pans out for us, what we see. So that's a good place to start. Also.
Yeah, and guys, this has been a really wonderful discussion, and I really appreciate everybody. And you guys in the chat are really wonderful too. And see, now here's all this great information about pointy ears that we can get because I love our people. This is what I mean. Like, we are stronger together. We always have something good for each other, and it's always good when we can get together and throw it down. Tanya, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
You're amazing. You guys are all amazing.
We love you, and we're so grateful for you being here. Special shout out to Holton Arms and the Holton Arms School. And thanks for Holton for showing up. Whoop, whoop.
Really?
Thank you for making our lives challenging that we needed to escape into
Fantasy.
comic books and build the sisterhood that has gone on for years and years after we graduated.
That's right. Thank you so much for that, Holton.
Nice.
Thank you.
I'm going to put on my NPR voice and say thank you for joining us tonight.
Mhm.
Wonderful. No, we love you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's been really fun. Tanya, can't wait to have you back, baby, because it's
That's
going to
it.
happen. And
That's
thanks
right.
all the Elfquest Nation. Thank you guys. And hopefully we'll see you guys really soon. Love y'all.
Yep.
Peace, love,
Shade
and
and
hair
sweet
grace.
water.